calls me Dad. And all the other blokes that live up here know how to leave a man alone. They're not a bad old bunch that live up here. Ah, but you know that it's not family, it's not home. What of a darling wife that once I had? Well, I'm pleased to say that she still talks to me. But I try not to think of what went wrong, 'cause if I say that I was right, she might say that she was right. And the only rights I care about are visiting rights. On any other day, I might care what you say, but every Saturday it's Father's Day. You might call it sad, you might call me mad, but I've got one who calls me Dad. We go where he wants to go. We do what he wants to do. I tell him everything I know, 'cause I do anything to prove. Yeah, I do anything to prove that every Saturday I will do just what he says, 'cause every single Saturday is Father's Day. And you might call it sad, you might call me mad, but it don't feel so bad when he calls me. You might call it sad, you might call me mad, but it don't feel half bad when he calls me. You might call it sad, you might call me mad, but God, I feel so glad when he calls me Dad. Yeah, he calls me Dad. I haven't always been a single man.
Tomorrow, meet your new replacement son.
Roll on, roll on, roll on.
tried to make you understand. We tried to make you realize her fame is down and time is up, but somehow it don't seem enough, 'cause the world wouldn't listen anymore. Caught by social evil, wasn't streetwise after all. Was she there at all? Pictures in the mirror, pictures she never knew. Pictures in the mirror, always reflecting you. Not such an ordinary pictures in the mirror. The sun goes down. Time's up, heading for a brighter life. The foreign waters put the fire out. No one ever asked you, wasn't meant to end this way, to end this way. You're not alone now. You're closing in now. Staring at the light, so was born on Saturday, got buried on Sunday. Like I was born on Saturday, got buried on Sunday. Thought I'd never get caught, feel like I just got married and divorced in the one day. And it's not my fault, and it's not my fault. Now I've thrown it all away, and I have nowhere to go. Call to quit, stand up to vote before your dreams end up in smoke. Calling you out, all of your plans will be washed away, washed away. Life is a sin, living to win, and we're all sinners after all. We don't want to listen to what you say, we're old enough to know better. You got blood on your hands, can you hear me? We don't want to listen, it's a waste of time. Are you for real? You got blood on your hands, can we be set free? Fighting for peace with no identity. I know I speak for those around me. Calling you out, all of your plans will be washed away, washed away. Life is a sin, living to win, and we're all sinners after all. We don't want to listen to what you say, we're old enough to know better. You got blood on your hands, can you hear me? We don't want to listen, it's a waste of time. Are you for real? You got blood on your hands, can we be set free? When news becomes gossip and the hounds begin to bleed, the rich man's inspiration becomes the beggar's greed. And there's no way to stop it, servicing that need. 'Cause the scared cry out, they possess an everlasting greed. Life is a sin when you're not living to win. Life is a sin, living to win, and we're all sinners after all. We don't want to listen to what you say, we're old enough to know better. You got blood Chinese whisper, calm like a needle in the eye of a twister. We won't surrender until the end. Truthful pretenders. Won't someone hear the battle cry? She said you're a substitute. She said, can't you see we're through? One more silent victory. Victory, victory, victory. Struggling hard to forget her, slowly begins to regret her. Anger is all that she lived for. Walked over his life in and out through the front door. We won't surrender until the end. Truthful pretenders. Won't someone hear the battle cry? She said you're a substitute. She said, can't you see we're through? One more silent victory. Victory, victory, victory. We won't surrender until the end. Truthful pretender, like somebody sees the day. They ran away. She said you're a substitute. She said, can't you see right through? One more silent victory. One more silent victory. Victory, victory, victory. I haven't always been a single man, and I haven't always lived up here, along with all these other single men, with a ring around the bark and a cigarette butt in my beard. And I haven't always been a lonely man, and I haven't always lived alone. And you know I haven't always drunk this much, but hey, before you cut me down, just start standing in my shoes, 'cause I don't have to hear one word of this, no. On any other day, I might care what you say, but every Saturday is Father's Day. And you might call it sad, you might call me mad, but I've got one who calls me dad.
darling wife that once I had. Well, I'm pleased to say that she still talks to me. But I tried not to think of what went wrong. 'Cause if I say that I was right, she might say that she was right. And the only rights I care about are visiting rights. Yeah. On any other day, I might care what you say, but every Saturday it's Father's Day. You might call it sad, you might call me mad, but I've got one who calls me Dad. We go where he wants to go. We do what he wants to do. I tell him everything I know, 'cause I do anything to prove. Yeah, I do anything to prove that every Saturday I will do just what he says. 'Cause every single Saturday is Father's Day. And you might call it sad, you might call me mad, but it don't feel so bad when he calls me. You might call it sad, you might call me mad, but it don't feel half bad when he calls me. You might call it sad, you might call me mad, but God, I feel so great when he calls me Dad. Yeah, he calls me Dad. I haven't always been a single man. Around town, the wharf is standing strong. They gathered round to see what the union had to say. It's too much work and not enough pay. Say, we'll roll on with our heads held high. Our conscience in the gutter, our dreams up in the sky. We'll roll on with our heads held high. Our conscience in the gutter, our dreams up in the sky. We'll protest in peace, keep the whole thing quiet. The last thing needed is a wage fuel riot. 'Cause they don't really care, they're always standing there, running from the outside, running from the outside. Do you really care why you're standing there, feeling from the outside world? Do you really care why you're standing there, feeling from the outside world? 5 weeks had passed when the union made it clear. Spirit slowly faded and the end was getting near. You see, you're all expendable, and when all is said and done, you'll go back to work tomorrow, meet your new replacement son. Roll on, roll on, roll on. We'll roll on with our heads held high. Our conscience in the gutter, our dreams up in the sky. We'll roll on with our heads held high. Our conscience in the gutter, our dreams up in the sky.
pale shadow on the street.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please stand?
I hear you push through the rusty gate. Click of your heels on the concrete, waiting for an oncoming way too late. It seems an age since I've seen ya. Countdown as the weeks trickle into days. So you come in and put your bags down. I know there's something in the air. How can I do this to you right now? You're over there when I need you here. My happiness slowly creeping back. Now you're at home. If it ever starts sinking in, it must be when you pack up and go. It seems an age since I've seen you. Countdown as the weeks trickle into days. I hope that time hasn't changed you. All I really want is for you to stay. So you come in and put your bags down. I know there's something in the air. How can I do this to you right now? You're over there when I need you here. My happiness slowly creeping back. Now you're at home. If it ever starts sinking in, it must be when you pack up and go. I know what is inside. 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 You're over there when I need you here. My happiness slowly creeping back. Now you're at home. If it ever starts sinking in, it must be when you pack up and go. My happiness slowly creeping back. Now you're at home. If it ever starts sinking in, it must be when you pack up and go.
Ladies and gentlemen, there are some seats up the front if you would like to move forward. No? Okay. Don't think of him as gone away. His journey has just begun. Life holds so many facets. This earth is only one. Just think of him as resting from the sorrows and the tears, in a place of warmth and comfort where there are no days or years. Think how he must be wishing that we could know today how nothing but our sadness can really pass away. And think of him as living in the hearts of those he touched. For nothing loved is ever lost, and he was loved so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gathered here today in remembrance of a special person in our lives, Isaiah Solomon Dixon, Roy, as he was known to you all. On behalf of his father Stuart and stepmother Katrina, his mother Michelle and stepfather Mark, Shagani, fondly known as Arnie, Gitana, affectionately known as Bub, Tyson, Madison, Saxon and Axis and their families, I welcome you and thank you for being here with them today. I also welcome all of those viewing online today as they've been unable to be with us. It is a mark of the immense respect that so many of you have been prepared to stop the daily rush of life to join with the family to honour the memory and the life of a young man whose life was cut tragically short. The kindness of all of you who have supported the family during this difficult time is much appreciated and will be consolation to them later during the inevitable moments of grief and emptiness. The family extends their sincere thanks to the search and rescue teams, the police, and you, the community, who didn't hesitate to take your boats out and assist with the search. They will be forever grateful to you all. This funeral service serves many purposes. It is the reverent farewell of Roy, but it also recognises the value of his life and confirms that his life, one which was lived to the fullest, has ended. It also helps us all to face the reality of his death. During the service, we will hear from those who knew him best as they share recollections and insights into a much-loved son, brother, uncle, and nephew. They will share the memories and emotions that are evoked when speaking about a young man who packed more into his 23 years than many people do in a lifetime. A man who loved the outdoors, loved nature and being in it. A man who instilled in those who were precious to him a love of family and the joy of being connected with other people. At the conclusion of this service, we will accompany Roy on his final journey to the Wynyard Lawn Cemetery, where his body will be laid to rest. Today, you too will recall the experiences and the relationships you had with him. So that you can share your stories, everyone is invited to join the family at the Wharf Hotel in Wynyard later in the day. Isaiah Solomon Dixon, or Roy, was born in Burnie on the 25th of January 1998, the third child of Stuart and Michelle. His early years were spent in Wynyard, where he attended Table Cape Primary School, and then later in Yolla, where he attended the Yolla District School. Roy's favourite part of the school day was recess and lunch. To say he preferred the outdoors to any book learning is an understatement. It is well known that he spent more time at school outside of school hours than during them, loving to hang out in the schoolyard, having fun with his mates. A bit of a daredevil, even at a young age, A game of cricket in the Table Cape schoolyard at the age of 10 ended disastrously when, attempting to retrieve a cricket ball from the school roof, he slipped and fell to the ground, breaking both legs. A bit of a setback, yes, but his adventurous spirit and love of life soon saw him doing monos and wheelies in his wheelchair, much to the delight of his family and friends. Roy began grade 7 at Yola District when his twin brothers Saxon and Axis began kindergarten. A typical big brother who looked out for them and was happy to acknowledge them as his own. Described as a bit of a wild child, Roy loved being in the bush, camping, fishing, four-wheel driving, and enjoying a beer with his mates. His passion for his motorbike, his chainsaw, and his fishing rod is well known. He loved cutting wood up the bush with his dad and loved getting his hands dirty doing mechanical repairs whenever needed. Roy loved the farm at Yola District School and got a job early on milking cows before working for Rodney Highland in his garage as a mechanic. He recently got a job at Savage River working as a truck driver, a position he loved. On the outside, Roy was a larrikin, but in the inside beat a heart of gold. A very caring young man who loved his family and his mates. A 6-year relationship with Jasmine was filled with such love. His love for his nephews, Zakoa and Finn, and niece Indy, was deep, and he was immensely proud of them. Roy helped everyone and anyone that called on him and asked for nothing in return. Roy loved life and lived it to the fullest. How do you think he would want us to remember him? Maybe this. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times and bright and sunny days. I'd like the tears of those who grieve to dry before the sun, and happy memories I leave when my life is done. So now let's hear from the people who knew Roy so well. I call on Bub, Tyson, Annie, Jeannie, Mark, Stuart, and Sean.
My brother, our little Zadie. It's hard to know where to start.
Our little Zadie, it's hard to know where to start or what to say. What I do know is you meant the world to so many people, especially Koa and I. But to see the sparkle in our dad's eyes and every time he was with this little boy who grew up big and strong, exactly how he'd hoped he would. The love our mum has for you is just immense, and to know how much I am hurting makes my heart break for them, and it'll be one hard road ahead for every single one of us. You loved to party, and by fuck you knew how to do it, and do it well. There were many nights I couldn't sleep and I wondered what you were doing, because you could be in Yola one minute and then you could be in Hobart the next, or at Salamanca Market selling hot dogs. There was just no in-between for you. But the ones closest to you got to see the real Isaiah, the sweet, caring, amazing boy who would do anything he could for his family. I would trade the world to have those nights back just so I could hear your beautiful voice. I am blessed for the memories I have with you and Arne. Not many siblings get to experience all the things we did together. Sometimes that's probably a good thing, because my goodness, we did some crazy shit. But amongst all that crazy shit, we're three people that loved and cared for each other so much and would do anything in the world for each other any hour of the day. There are so many things I could say about you, and it still wouldn't be enough, from the little boy who absolutely adored us to the big boy who would still call his mum and sisters every day to tell them he loved them. This is going to be a real struggle to come to terms with, and I hope for my son's sake I can get through it. So please, Zadie, give me every bit of strength you can, because we all need it right now. My son is your twin, so I find some comfort in still having you with me every day. He loved you like you wouldn't believe. You were like the Hulk in his eyes, and no one will ever be able to change his mind. Every time I look into his big blue eyes and tell him I love him, I'm saying it to him and you, and I'll make sure I say it twice as much now. I could honestly go on and on about you forever and a day, and it still wouldn't even come close to explain how much we need you. You were the first person I spoke to of a morning, and I made sure you were the last person I spoke to before going to sleep, because I just needed to know you were okay. I read our millions of messages and watch all of our videos and look at your photos every day. But it still just doesn't seem enough. I just wish I could have you here with us. You weren't just a brother. You were my best friend, and at some stages felt like my son as well, and I certainly loved you like one. Only someone who has lost someone as special as you would truly know this pain. I know you knew how much you meant to us, and our last messages that morning that instantly changed our lives, I will cherish till the day we are back together. I will not say goodbye. I'm saying I'll see you soon, Roy boy. Keep the beers cold for me, and I love you with every piece of my shattered heart.
I've kept my speech pretty short and sweet. I just wanted to start off by thanking everyone for being here in these hard times. As most of you know, me and Roy weren't actually related by blood. We were stepbrothers, but we never really thought of each other as stepbrothers. We were bonded by more than blood. We were bonded by our experiences, our memories, and our friendship. I admired my brother. Roy had a presence that could take over a room. He was always keen on a laugh, a beer, a good time, and that's one of the reasons we loved him. His confidence in whatever he was doing was contagious. He was always made it seem like he knew what he was doing, even when he didn't. I remember when we were kids riding bikes through the bush, I always felt safe with Roy. If I broke down, he would try and fix it. If I got lost, he would find the way back. If I fell off, he would stop and make sure I was okay. That's just the type of person he was. He wasn't perfect, but he never claimed to be perfect. It's hard finding the words to comprehend how much Roy meant to us. I was going to try and tell a story from our childhood, but I couldn't think of a time he wasn't getting up to no good. So I think I'll keep them memories to myself. I loved my brother. and I find comfort in the fact that he loved me too. We used to have a saying, me and Roy, whenever he would leave or I would leave, we'd say, "I'm see you when I'm looking at you," because we knew we probably wouldn't see each other tomorrow or the next day or the next week, but eventually we would see each other again. So all I have left to say is, I'll see you when I'm looking at you, brother. I'll miss you every minute of every day. Thank you.
It's okay. Where do you even begin with a character like you? From the moment Mum was pregnant with you, I just knew you were going to be my everything. Seeing how happy Dad was to have his boy, even though Bub was pretty close to it, was very special. You were the sweetest little boy I've ever known, cute and round with a bloody big head on you. As you grew, your personality started to shine. You were a boy's boy, and if it was dirty, had a motor, or was loud, you were all in, just like your dad. If you weren't outside getting up to something, you were inside hammering nails into the floorboards or sawing through Mum's antique furniture. Mum always said she had to actually remind you to come and eat because you were just too busy. That certainly changed. It seemed everybody loved you, Isaiah, just as much as us. Honestly, seemed like even as a small child you had all these adult friends that just adored you. But there still wasn't a day after all this boys' business that I didn't hear Mum yell out, "Come and have a cuddle, Zadie," and the two of you would go lay in the bed and snuggle. The bond you and Mum share is something I can only pray I share with Finn. I have so many memories, Isaiah, that I will treasure for the rest of my life. When I got my first rental and told you I was moving out, you stopped talking to me because you were so mad. That all changed when you came to see the place and realised it meant that you could stay, be spoilt rotten, and play Grand Theft Auto. Mum still tells me it's my fault that you always did whatever you wanted, because every time she growled at you for something naughty, told you not to eat something because she was cooking tea, or put you in your room, probably for ruining her furniture, I'd either sneak you the food you wanted or sneak in the room and tell you not to worry about her, she's just being mean. And I'd play with you quietly so she didn't know that I was there. Whether you were at Mum or Dad's house, you were the centre of both their worlds. Watching you become an uncle to Indiana was an absolute pleasure. You always called her your beautiful niece and treated her like a princess, and for quite a while you were the main male influence in her life, and she always felt pretty special making cards for Uncle Zadie, while others made Father's Day cards. She thought she was the real winner there because lots of people had dads, no one had an Uncle Zadie, she'd say. Then there is the romantic story of how Sean and I met when you took your big sister to a party. At one point you went outside for a smoke. I walked out to see someone holding you, so in your words, I've run and jumped on their back like a koala. Turns out it was Sean trying to get you out of a fight. You would have thought he would have run that day, but seems you and he are the two peas in a pod. You have both caused me many, many headaches and seem to get stuck out the bush an awful lot together. Something I'm forever grateful for is how close Bub, you and I are. We've been through some tough times together, and through it all, we always had each other's backs. I find peace in knowing that any time of the day or night, you knew you could call Bub or me and we'd drop everything for you. Having you live with us was one of the best periods of my life. We had a lot of fun and I always felt safe having you around. Isaiah, Solomon, I have no words to describe the pain I feel without you here, your big cheeky grin and absolutely contagious laugh. You were and still are a very special person. Every single second I spent with you was a pleasure. Please watch over us and keep us strong, because we need you now more than ever. Always loving you.
We got two James. Cool. Who's going next? One of you two. Yeah. Fire away.
I probably can't quite say the same things that the others do, but this is just something from his uncles and aunties. The house was always filled with Isaiah's sheer excitement when it came to anything that had wheels. He would play for hours, finding ways to get more speed or height out of whatever toy it was he was playing with. You could always tell how happy he was by the sound of the V8 noises that he'd make. You had to watch out for the things zooming past you or at you, particularly if he suddenly went quiet. Isaiah was always doing something, making cubby houses with the lounge chairs and bedding, anything he could get hold of, building speed ramps so he could take his trucks or bike or anything up. They usually ended up in a lump of rubbish in the yard. He lost interest in that pretty quickly. He'd be bringing home stray friends all the time as well. The house was always, someone was in there and you didn't know who it was, and Michelle and the kids probably half the time didn't know who they were either, but they became part of the family. And Isaiah had the whole street under his thumb. He would always talk to you about an army truck or an army man or a big truck or a bike or something that he'd seen somewhere, and he was just so happy about it. He cherished his family. Underneath that fearless nature was a gentle, caring young man. He had days where he did not smile. His sisters, Anne and Bub, his other mums, helped him more than people will ever know. Isaiah, you got to drive your big trucks and you owned a Hilux. I wish you could have taught me how to do a really good burnout. We'll miss you and we love you heaps.
Well, I don't have much to say apart from I love you forever, my first nephew. And my eldest brother Stuart's first son. You'll live on in our hearts forever, mate, and we'll never fucking forget you. Rest easy, boy.
Have my back, man. Righto. Firstly, I'd just like to thank everyone for coming and paying their respects to Isaiah. So I'm going to tell a few stories about him. Might take me a few minutes, but we'll get there. Hopefully be light-hearted. So one of my first memories of him was one night I'd gone to visit Michelle. Isaiah was there. Not the first time I met him, but pretty early on in the piece. He was doing his thing. Bedtime rolls round. Michelle had left the room. And across he came at me. Looked right at me and drove the boots in. He wasn't mucking around either. Little pair of gummies. I can remember it clearly. But from that early age, he loved his mum, and he just needed to let me know. So from there, we went to me spending more time at the house. and more time with Isaiah. There came a time when Michelle was working and I wasn't, so I started to look after him here and there. This led to the inevitable, and I probably hadn't thought of it, but I was sitting on the couch and I hear, "Mark!" I hop up, "Yeah, mate." And in reply, come at me, "Come wipe my bum." We worked it out, but fair to say from this point, I got to know him quite well. Also around this time he was going to daycare. I had to start to drop him off and collect him. He used to play up like a second-hand motorbike when dropping him off. So to sweeten the deal, we used to go bike riding, along the river track, along the streets, lots of different ways. Mostly would end up at the top shop, get a Mrs. Mac's cheesy bacon pie and smash that into us. But I'd done the trick, and off to daycare we would go. So from this point, Isaiah was becoming a regular fixture by my side. We would be doing stuff together all the time. He would come and visit my nan and pop with me, and called them nan and pop also. Visit my brother with me, and we'd watch movies around there, because that was his thing. We would visit my dad. He called him by first name. "Mick, can I play in your buggy?" He loved it. I'd do tricks in Dad's wheelchair and give him rides in it. We would do monos down the driveway. Obviously by this stage he was part of the family, as I was his. Then Mick's buggy became ours. Fair to say Isaiah was pretty keen on the idea. Constant talk of buggy this, buggy that, always on to me. Let's go buggy riding. And we did, over the school, behind the old tip, and up and around the back of the cemetery. Occasionally we would blast it along the river track. Also we would go bush with it, where we would drive it over logs, whatever, in the river. I often said, "Give it to a mate." He would always take me up on the invitation. Soon he learnt how to unload it, strap it up, back it off, and load it all back up. He was the man. He just loved it. Then came the Demon 90, his motorbike. Got it for Christmas, super stoked, couldn't wipe the smile from his face, till he thought it was too big and was in tears. So he rode around with me on the back till I thought he was all cool. I just stood up and he rode off from underneath me. Took him 50, 60 metres to realise that I wasn't there and nearly crashed looking around for me. I just waved him off and he come back past and I told him to keep going. He never looked back. His track went from a basic setup to jumping over tree roots, winding through the bush and whatever other obstacles were in the way. He loved that from that point and all through his entire life. By this stage, he was probably one of my best mates. He was also a sensitive soul. One time we were away for the weekend, the gorge in Lonnie, if I remember. Myself, Michelle, Arne, Bub and Isaiah. He was splashing in a drain. I told him over and over, get out of it. I could see what was going to happen. He was going to get straight back in. I walked over and just flicked him behind the ear. He jumped out. He wasn't happy. He ran to Michelle in tears and said, "Mark, you've hurt my feelings." But the way it come out, I'm pretty sure we all held down a bit of a laugh. It was more so obvious how much of a softie he could be when his younger brothers arrived on the scene. He was the most loving big brother you could ask for, playing with them, having a bath, pushing them down the driveway, scaring the shit out of them. Just general brother stuff. He was a fine example of a big brother, and I dare say if anyone was giving you a hard time, he would have kicked some ass first and took names afterwards. So many stories I could tell. We caught fish hand over fist at Rocky Kate. He outfished me at the guide dam several times, pulled them out his backside, but he still had them. We moved to Yolla. He got his first chainsaw. He cut a heap of man ferns down. It really pissed me off. I said, if you want to cut something, cut some wood. So he did. Couldn't be stopped after that. Read into it what you will, but here a month ago I walked down through that same spot. One of the ferns, after 7, 8, maybe 9 years and nothing, was throwing new fronds. Also, our time at Yolla involved rallying. Thanks to a supply of rally cars from the scrapyard I worked at, the Astra, the Proton, and a few others. These took a starring role in the Yolla Boys DVD him and Gardy had made. Can't see Gardy, but awesome. Where am I? Quality viewing. We're also rallying in the same cars one day. He lined me up. I seen him do it. Sideswiped me. Both mirrors exploded off the side of both cars. There was still evidence up the tree farm of where I pushed him into the bush from a love tap from behind. We drove out the road and pissed ourselves laughing for ages. Then, of course, his first bus, a Land Cruiser. We done loads of wood with it. He pulled me out bogged. The brakes were average. He would just nudge into a tree to bring it to a stop. He was a young man by this stage, and as such, we were seeing less of him, out with his mates, doing stuff I probably didn't want to know about, but somehow I still did. That's growing up, and although he worried us at times, it was part of the journey. The last time I seen Isaiah was up at home. It turned a bit hectic towards the end of the night, but that aside, it was a ripper. The boys were there, Isaiah and his mates, fire going, drinks flowing, four-wheel drives burning up and down the hill in the paddock at home. Fireworks and crackers causing havoc in amongst the group of people, and plenty of smack getting talked. Standard sort of night, really. I don't usually like to speak on someone's behalf, but I will briefly because I know what I'm about to say will be true. Michelle, Isaiah loved you more than anything. Chainsaws, bikes, even buggies. Aunt and Bub, also he loved you guys very much. Had a great relationship with both Sean and Damo also, and was super proud to be an uncle to Indy, Cozy and Finn, and also Layla. Sax, Axe, mentioned you guys before, but he was so proud of you blokes, and used words like jet, gun and beast to describe you. Jazz, he loved you very much, and if he made it to 100, you would still have a piece of his heart. Stewie, he loved you very much also, he told me. And to the crew of many mates here, if you were his mate, you were also like a brother to him, and I'm sure he called lots of yous by the name brother, especially you guys up the front here. So in summary, Isaiah is a loving, caring young man, respected and loved by his peers and family, and I'm positive his memory will live on for as long as everyone here today is around to talk about him. Just before I finish, I seen a few words the other day. I just thought they suited the situation and him perfectly. Life, in all its fragile beauty, surrounds me. Life, its energy and vigour consume me. Life, my zest for life and living remain. Life, my pulse flows thick and forceful through my veins. I think that's him.
Good day.
Okie dokie. Right, I didn't expect to be in this position. I was supposed to die a painless death at 89.90 in my sleep, and Roy bury me. But here we are. What can I say that hasn't been said by the people before me? I'd like to tell you what his favourite food was, but I can't because it was all if it was cooked well. I'd like to tell you about his hobbies, but it was anything outdoors or anything with a motor in it. I'd like to tell you what his dreams and ambitions were, but I can't because he was living and making them. What I can tell you, he was my son and my friend, and I loved him dearly, and I'll never stop doing that. I can say that our lives were a bit richer for having had him in it. I know mine will never be the same, and I know he would be proud of the strength that his family has shown because we are proud of him. On a footnote, down here, I'd like everyone to take fucking care after today. Don't do anything to excess because I'd hate to see another family in the same position that we are. Cheers.
There was one more that Sean handed to me before the service. And it reads like this. Roy, where do I start? I have had the pleasure of having you in my life for almost 7 years, but known you since primary school. As you would tell the story about how you got chased by a man when you were playing at the school in Gibbons Street after school hours. I lived up the road from that school and you rode your push bike to my house for help and no one was home. And to this day I think you were still pissed at me for not being there. And with all that shit we would say to each other how I would obviously say to him, I was sitting there watching him through the window. I could go on and on about the memories we've had, but we'd be here forever. I think our main memories started when you and Jazz moved in with us. That's also when the nightmares started for the girls. I did feel sorry for them as we got stuck out the bush every Friday night, but we're really lucky to get unstuck every Sunday afternoon. And sometimes we didn't even leave a four-wheel drive there. Or there was a time when we were having a few drinks at home. Became a daily thing at one point. Annie told me to go take something off your bike so you wouldn't ride it. I won't say what I did though, but he caught me and just said, what's going on, bro? And I acted like I wasn't doing anything. I put it back on, then we waited for the girls to go to bed and off we went with the bike. No doubt, for days. I'm going to find it very hard to do life without you, as we spoke almost every day, even if it was mouthing each other about something. It's going to be hard to fill your shoes, but just know I'll do my best to look after Annie and Indy like you always did. I love you, man. Until we meet again. What beautiful tributes we've heard today of a wonderful man that you're all obviously so immensely proud of. The family have compiled a montage of photographs that will support the stories that we've heard this morning about Roy and his life. They've chosen some of his favourite music to accompany this. Let's watch now.
Waiting, watching the clock, it's 4 o'clock, it's got to stop. Tell him, take no more. She practices her speech as he opens the door. She rolls over, pretends to sleep as he looks her over. She lies and says she's in love with him, can't find a better man. She dreams in color, she dreams in red, can't find a better man. Can't find a better man. Can't find a better man. Oh. forever to touch you, 'cause I know that you feel me somehow. You're the closest to heaven that I'll ever be, and I don't wanna go home right now. And all I could taste is this moment, and all I can breathe is your light. And sooner or later it's over, I just don't wanna miss you tonight. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And you can't fight the tears that ain't coming, all the moment of truth in your lies. When everything feels like the movies, yeah, you bleed just to know you're alive. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. And I don't want the world to see me, 'cause I don't think that they'd understand. When everything's made to be broken, I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. I just want you to know who I am. If you could only see the way she loves me, then maybe you would understand why I feel this way about our love and what I must do. If you could only see how blue her eyes can be when she says she loves me. Well, you got your reasons, and you've got your lies, and you've got your manipulations. They cut me down to size. Say you love, but you don't. You love, but you won't. If you could only see the way she loves me, maybe you would understand why I feel this way about our love and what I must do. If you could only see how blue her eyes can be when she says she loves she loves me. She calls me from the cold. Just when I was low, feeling short of stable, all that she intends and all she keeps inside is in on the label. She says she's ashamed. Can she take me for a while? Can I be a friend? We'll forget the past, or maybe I'm not able. And I break at the bend. We're here and now. Will we ever be again? 'Cause I have found all that shimmers in this world is sure to fade away again. She dreams of champagne dream, strawberries of her eyes, pink linen, no white paper, lavender and cream, fills up butterflies, reality escapes her. She says that love is for fools that fall behind. I'm somewhere between, I never really know, a killer from a savior, till I break at the bend. We're here and now, will we ever be again? 'Cause I have found all that shimmers in this world is sure to fade away again. It's too far away for me to hold, too far away. It's too far away for me to hold, too far away. It's too far away for me to hold, too far away. It's too far away for me to hold, too far away. It's too far away for me to hold, far away. It's too far away for me to hold, too far away. Guess I'll let it go.
Very evident the intense love for family and friends. As we celebrate Roy's life, we can take satisfaction that he has been and still is and always will be a part of our life. His influence endures in the unending consequences flowing from his character and his deeds. You can shed tears that he is gone, or you can smile because he has lived. You can close your eyes and pray that he'll come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that he has left. Your heart can be empty because you cannot see him, or you can be full of the love you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live for yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember him and only that he's gone. Or you can cherish his memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back. Or you can do what he would want you to do. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. We will now follow Roy on his final journey to the Wynyard Lawn Cemetery, where he will be laid to rest. Would you all please stand?
It didn't hurt, flirt, blood squirt, stop, shirt, hang me on a tree.